Can you understand what is being said to you? How about listening to movies or music? Can you understand them but have trouble when it comes to your own speaking? Today, let's talk about some of the reasons that you may have trouble with your fluency and some things that you can do to fix it. Are you guys ready to improve your fluency? If so, then let's get into it. The first thing is that you may just be trying too hard. Usually when we are trying so hard to impress someone, we end up making a mistake. Have you ever been in a situation for the first time? Maybe it was your time to be lead on a project at school or something for work. You want to take this time to show everyone how great it is you are at what you do. When you do something like this in English, it may come in the form of trying to speak fast. If you speak too fast, but you stumble over your words, then you're actually not going to be having a very good conversation. And speaking fast doesn't necessarily mean that you are fluent. It's okay to speak at your own pace and make sure that you're being understood. Would you rather be able to speak very fast and no one can understand you, or be able to have control of what you want to say and be able to get it across clearly? So take your time. You don't have to try too hard to impress someone. What you want to do is have a great conversation. Next, are you overcomplicating things? Maybe when you are in a conversation, you want to show off your fancy grammar or the new vocabulary that you learned. But you can spend so much time on this that you forget to just have a good conversation. A conversation is just a way for one person to get their thoughts and ideas across to another person. And there are no bonus points for the types of words or the types of grammar that you use. You don't need the biggest vocabulary or the longest and most complicated grammar structures to prove that you're a great English speaker. When I was younger, I remember my teachers always telling me to explain something as if you were explaining it to a child for the first time. And this just means being clear, using simple words so that the listener understands what you want to get across. Speaking in English is no different. Unless you're in some type of contest where you're going to be getting points or there's going to be some type of bonus for the type of vocabulary or grammar that you use, you don't really have to worry about it too much. It is more important to be understood in a conversation, so don't worry about the degree of difficulty on the words. Just worry about having a great conversation that the other person can understand. You will get more and more comfortable over time, and you will be able to slightly increase your grammar and vocabulary level over time as well. The next thing that could be holding you back is focusing too much on accuracy. Most people don't like to make mistakes, so we focus on everything being perfectly correct. In English, this could come in the form of thinking about, should I change this tense, or should my voice be rising or falling here? And this becomes the main thing that we start thinking about. And by doing this, you might start to pause or have fits and starts to your English because you're focusing so much on being perfect. And of course, accuracy is important, but you should be focusing on balance as well. There should be a combination of accuracy as well as fluency, and if you can have a good combination of these two things, you're probably having a good conversation. Even native speakers make mistakes from time to time, so being perfect should not be the main focus of your conversation. If the conversation starts to have a lot of starts or stops, pauses, that it becomes so confusing for the listener, this is when you have gone too far into accuracy and you've stopped focusing on fluency. Think about the point that you want to communicate and then how you can say it as fluently and as accurately as possible. Both things are very important. So instead of focusing just on being perfect, think about, how can I have the best conversation possible? The next thing that could be holding your fluency back is vocabulary, or just not having a big enough vocabulary. And this is a big problem because it just means that you don't have the words to express the feelings that you want to get across. I remember when I got to Japan, I knew very little Japanese. And once I started to learn a little, I remember telling friends back home that I kind of felt like a child because of my level of Japanese. And this is because I wasn't able to speak in a way that matched my age level. Little things that I took for granted back home became very difficult. Especially things like going to a bank or maybe having a hospital visit. There are only so many times you can say something hurts without being able to explain it clearly to a doctor or a nurse. In this way, vocabulary is important. And the higher up that your English level goes, it's going to become more and more important for you. So think about all of the things that you like to talk about. In your native language, you probably have many different ways that you're able to talk about and explain various topics. What you need to do when thinking about English vocabulary is think about playing the long game or have a long-term focus. So think about, you have to get better, but you're gonna improve your English little by little over time. It will take a long time, but as you improve your vocabulary, you're also going to improve your English fluency as well, because over time you're going to be able to explain and expand on more difficult concepts and ideas in English. At the beginning, it's okay to just use simple words or just the words that you do know to be able to speak in English. And as you get better, you can increase that vocabulary and increase the level of the words. When you use words that you are more comfortable with, it's going to give you a level of confidence that's going to be really good for your fluency. But always think about, you're going to want to add words little by little over time, and your fluency is going to improve little by little over time. Maybe you are shy, and this is also affecting your fluency. You might speak very softly so that you can cut down on embarrassment. Maybe your confidence level is affecting how you are projecting yourself in that conversation, which makes it a lot harder on your fluency as well. Confidence can also play a big part in English fluency. It's hard to be fluent if you're not confident yourself. When I first got to Japan, sometimes I would notice that the listener would start to lean in closer so that they can hear me. This was because I wasn't too confident with what I was saying at first, so I would start to kind of trail off at the end of sentences or just be speaking in a kind of overall softer voice than I would when I'm speaking in English. And I know it could be hard, but even if you are shy, just by projecting confidence, there's going to be a big difference on how your words are received. I always try to think that Japanese is not my native language, so it's natural that I'm going to make mistakes. And without worrying about making those mistakes, your confidence level naturally rises because you're not worrying about making the mistakes as much, because you know that if you do make those mistakes, that it's just another way for you to get better at what you're doing, and you can do the same thing in English. Of course, it could take time, but if you can get over your shyness in a language, it's also going to be a great way to improve your confidence and fluency in that language. The last thing that could be holding your fluency back is just not having enough practice. And this is practice that you do on your own to improve your fluency. When you're in a conversation, usually you're going to be focusing on concentrating, listening to that other speaker, and then you're going to get your point across, and then the conversation is going to go on from there. And the goal here is to use the phrases, use the vocabulary that you know, get these ideas across as many times as possible so they become second nature to you. When you don't always have to think about what you're going to say first, this is when your fluency improves. No matter where your English level is now, there's probably some English words or phrases that you just say without thinking. And the more that you can get your ideas out without thinking, the better it's going to be for your conversation fluency. Another thing that you can pay attention to when practicing on your own is intonation and the phrasing. Phrasing is the pausing and the speeding up or down of words and phrases, and intonation is going to be whether you're rising with your voice or falling. These are both very important, and practicing them will make you a more fluent speaker as well. These are 6 of the reasons that you may not be as fluent in English as you would like. I hope these give you some ideas and some ways that you can think about improving your English fluency. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, how about check out this video that's going to be popping up right here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. See you.